What's up, everybody? It's AJ with etrailer.com. Today we're going to be checking out the Thule T2 Pro XTR. It's going to be a 4-bike platform style bike rack, and it's going to hold the bikes by the wheels right here with the hooks, so that's going to open it up to carry a bunch of different kind of bikes. Let's check it out. Let's take a look at the wheel mount first, and this is how it's going to hold the bikes in place. So this hook comes down, it's padded and puts pressure on this wheel, and that's what holds it in place. Well, that's what opens up this bike rack to hold different styles of bike racks, because normally on a platform style you'll have a center mast or it puts pressure down here on the frame, and you can't do that with all the bikes. That's not going to work with alternative frame bikes, and it's not going to work with carbon fiber bikes. You might scratch them or mess up the frame. This one, holding them by the tire, really opens up those other kinds, so carbon fiber is not a problem and alternative frame is not a problem. Looking at the back side of our bike, you can see this is how it holds the tire here in this cradle. You just have the straps that come down. They get there really tight. You can see it's not moving back and forth. I'm trying to shake that tire. It's not moving. It's got grooves in there to accommodate that too. And this can also slide back and forth along the bike rack. That way it adjusts for different size wheelbases. Another nice thing about the cradle is that it is ready to go with fat tire bikes right out of the box. So I really like that. Sometimes you have to get a different strap here and switch it out if you want to use a fat tire bike, but you don't have to do it with this one. The only thing you're really limited by is the weight capacity of the bike rack when it's in the 4-bike configuration. So right now it can only hold 40 pounds per bike, and that's why we don't have our fat tire bike on there. It exceeds that. One of the things people really like about platform style racks is that even with them fully loaded up, they can still tilt away from the vehicle because they can handle that weight. So let's go ahead and see how this one works. We got the handle here. So you're going to pull in on this gray handle, and that's going to release it. You'll hear a click, and you're going to lower it to the ground. Now, one thing I will warn you, on this lower vehicle like our RAV4 today, this is going to go all the way to the ground. So just be careful. Make sure you don't put your hands on the underside, because you don't want to put your hand in between the bike rack and the ground. So I'm going to start it like that and kind of use my other hand here on the post. And now you can access back there. Let's say you forgot to throw something in there or take something out before you trip. You have to unload everything to get there. And put it back into place. It'll snap back into place. And actually, this is the easier platform style 4-bike bike rack to lower down because the handle's out here. I can't stress that enough. That's very nice that it's out here. This one gets compared to, this bike rack gets compared to the Kuat NV 2.0 a whole bunch. They got the same weight capacity. They hold the bikes the exact same. The only major difference is that the handle that you would use to lower the bike rack is all the way up front. So I'm going to show you up here on the NV 2.0, it'd be up here. So you almost need a second person to come up here, hit that so that you can lower it over here. And on this one, you don't need that second person. You can just pull on this handle, use this to help stabilize it and slowly lower it or raise it back up. All right, we're gonna take it for a drive in the parking lot. We're gonna go over some speed bumps, just see how it handles. Now every bike rack is gonna move around a little bit, and this one's got 4 on there and it's extended out from the back of the vehicle. So there's gonna be some movement, but that's okay, that's a normal thing. I see it shift around just a little bit. Get some more aggressive bumps rapidly here. The bike rack seems to be moving a decent amount, but the bikes aren't going anywhere, so that's a good thing. That means the clamps are holding them down while the bike rack shifts around. All right, now we're just going to speed up just a little bit in the parking lot and just kind of get a feel for it, see if we can feel any difference in our driving or hear anything. So far, so good. You think that anti-rattle device keeps it nice and tight in the hitch. That's why we're not hearing anything. Now we're gonna get to the part of the parking lot. We're gonna speed up a little bit and do some sharp turns. See how it handles that. and shift around a little bit, but again, those bikes aren't moving. We're gonna unload the bikes so we can take a better look at the bike rack. First, we gotta undo our integrated cable locks. It's nice that these are on there. That's just one extra thing you don't have to think about all the time of adding a new cable lock and putting it somewhere when you're done. It all stores in itself. Now there's gonna be 4 of these on each of one of the hooks. It just goes back into place like that, snaps back in. Now it's gonna stay put. So there's one of these on each of the wheel hooks, so each one of the 4 bikes has its own cable lock you can lock up. That way all your bikes are safe when you're not around. While we're working with the locks, we noticed that it is not keyed alike, and now that's because you have the 2-bike bike rack with the 2-bike add-on. So these are 2 separate parts that they put together, and that's why they're not keyed alike. So you can still fix that though and look at the Thule lock cylinders. You can either look at the key itself, there's a key code on there, you'll see, and you can look that up and order individual new lock cylinders to replace what you got on your bike rack, or you just get a kit of 6 lock cylinders and replace all of them on your bike rack. That way they all work with the same key. Now let's go ahead and remove the bike. It's pretty simple from here. Just come back here, always do the back wheel cradle first, push on this tab, the strap's gonna come out. Now that's good to come out of there, and then put one hand on the frame and use the other hand to hit the button here to bring the hook up and fold it down. Nice and out of the way. Then you can just take the bike off the rack, and we're gonna repeat that for the other 3. Now we're gonna take a look at the back wheel cradle. Just want to show you how easily that slides back and forth. It's not a big deal. I really like how easy that is. It just makes it easier when you're going to throw that next bike up there. You can adjust it really quickly and get it tied down. Now if you come over here and look at the other wheel cradle, you can see how it's got the different grooves. We got the small groove here in the middle. That's gonna be for road bike tires. Gets bigger for mountain bike tires here, and then the whole thing, this big, it can fit big fat tire bikes tires too. So it's kind of good that right out of the gate, it can accommodate all those different tires. You don't have to get any add-ons or anything. And when it's not in use, you can easily just fold the hook down here. I would recommend just go ahead and ratcheting it down to the wheel cradle just to help it stay in place. Now it's not going to move around on you. Let's talk some measurements. So first up, we're going to do ground clearance. Now each vehicle is going to be a little bit different because your hitch sits in a different spot, or your vehicle is just lower to the ground. So what we did was up here at the hitch, we measured from the ground to the bottom right there, and then up here towards the back of the bike rack, we measured from the ground to the bottom here on the back, and that's going to be a 10.5-inch rise that it has built into the bike rack. So that's going to help you out with that ground clearance. No matter how low your hitch is, you will get that rise out of it. Another thing to think about is how far it sticks out. Now this is a 4-bike platform style bike rack, so it's going to stick out quite a bit. It actually sticks out from the center of the hitch pin to here, 63 inches. And then the closest point, if we came up here to the bumper, was going to be from the hitch pin hole again. The closest point of the bike rack would be 7 inches, so you have 7 inches of space, and you don't have to worry about this thing moving too much. It does not move any closer or anything, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, you can also tilt it up to take some of that out. So come in the same handle back here you did to tilt it away. So just pull up on it. We can fold it up towards the vehicle. The handle will snap into place, just like that. And now it's only going to be 20 inches from the center of the hitch pin to the furthest out point. So that saves you a whole bunch there, but still remember it's back there. And now it's going to be the closest point from the center of the hitch pin hole to the closest point this time is going to be 5 inches now. So that changes things drastically and really saves you some space. With it folded up, we can get a better look at the underside of the bike rack. And right here, you're gonna have these bolts you can loosen, and you can slide the whole tray 3 inches either way. And that's just gonna help you out with bike-to-bike contact. That way, if you have 2 bikes that are similar in size and they're right on top of each other, you can kind of shift one way, and then that way the handlebars aren't hitting each other or making contact with the seat or anything. Another feature you might not think about right away that's nice is it has wheels on the bottom. So that's going to be nice when you go to move this around. Let's say you're taking it out of your hitch, or even put it in your hitch, wherever you're putting your garage. You don't have to lift up this thing and carry it around in your garage. This is going to be 96 pounds of weight, so that's just a little cumbersome to lift that up and move it around. This way, with the wheels, you just tilt it and roll it up to the vehicle to go put it in place. Sometimes some people say they can go like that, but really you can just get it right here to the hitch, or when you're unloading it, get it set up. So all you really have to do is lift it from here and get it in the hitch. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that now. Grab this bar, lift it up, and slide it in. Another thing I like is the stinger on the side. So So you can just push this in. So when I slide this forward, this can go right into place in the hitch pin hole. That just makes it easier to line that up. I don't have to constantly look at it. I can just push the bike rack forward and it latches in there by itself. And with that in place, you can come back to the anti-rattle knob and keep turning it until it tightens up. You can actually feel, I can shake the bike rack back and forth, but you can't do that the more I tighten this down. It's gonna take that shake and play out completely. All tightened up, you can actually lock it, and then it's gonna just free spin. That's just another way of protecting your bike rack. Nobody can mess with it when you're not around. Another feature this bike rack has is, since it is a 2-bike bike rack and an add-on, you can remove the add-on if you just want to carry 2 bikes. Let's say you want to carry 2 e-bikes. Those are going to be heavier, so to do that, you'll have to remove the add-on, which is going to up the weight capacity to 60 pounds per bike. So you'll be able to carry 2 e-bikes that way. To me, that's not as convenient as it seems. I don't like the idea that I have to take this all apart if I just wanted to carry 2 e-bikes here, or if I want to carry 2 e-bikes and extra bikes, I just can't do it with this rack. I think the better solution for that would be looking at the Sarah Super Clamp, because it's front 2 bikes, so the ones close to the back of your vehicle, the 2 bikes it's going to hold there is going to be 60 pounds per bike. So you can put those 2 e-bikes on there and then take 2 more bikes if that's what you want to do. Or maybe you just needed more weight capacity, something more than 40 pounds per bike. You know, we ran into today, one of our bikes exceeded that, so we couldn't put it on the bike rack, so we can't take it with us. But we can use the Yakima hold up instead, where it handles 50 pounds per bike. Weight capacity isn't everything though. So when you are looking at some of the other bike racks, just remember they're not going to have the exact same features as this one. For instance, the Yakima hold up we mentioned has the same problem as the Kuat one we mentioned earlier. That means you're going to have to reach to the side to tilt it away from the vehicle instead of having the handle nice here at the back. This just makes it so much easier, makes it a 1-person job. With it on the side, it's going to make it a 2-person job, so you automatically have to have somebody else there to help you tilt it down. And that's just one other thing that you might not want to have to worry about. Really just look out for that stuff when you're looking at the different racks. Overall, I think it's how you're going to use the bike rack and what bikes you're putting on there. If you have 4 bikes that are under 40 pounds, then this is going to be a great bike rack for you. You can load it up with all your bikes and you don't have to worry about it. It only gets a little difficult when you have some bikes that are way heavier than the other ones. If you have some e-bikes and you want to carry other bikes, this one might not be for you. But at least you can have all the information to make that choice to figure out which one of these bike racks is going to work best. Well, thanks for hanging out, and I hope this helped.